If you're a car enthusiast, you probably have thoughts on the ongoing debate of manual transmission versus automatic transmissions. In corner A, you've got the creme de la creme of automatics, the dual clutch, which promises lightning quick shifts along with daily driving usability. And in corner B, you've got the classic manual transmission. Now, a dual clutch isn't like a traditional automatic with a torque converter and a bunch of clutch packs. A dual clutch transmission is sort of like taking two automated manuals and sticking them together, giving each one half of the gears to be in charge of. When you're in first gear, second gear is already queued up and ready to go, and all that it's got to do to engage that gear set is disengage one clutch and engage the other, thus the dual clutch nomenclature. So dual clutches are pretty neat. They promise to get you to Starbucks in about 0.02 seconds faster than the next guy in his manual, but how much faster are they really? What I have here is a Mark V Volkswagen Golf GTI with a 6-speed dual clutch and a 2-liter turbo engine. By all accounts, a very reasonable and comfortable daily driver. Unlike this 6th generation Camaro SS1LE with some less subtle modifications, long tube headers, full exhaust, making around 490 horsepower on E85. But the Camaro has the classic 3 pedals and a 6-speed manual transmission, so we'll see how that goes. So the question I want to answer today in the fading light of a Kansas winter is this. I fancy myself pretty fast, at least that's what my wife says. I want to see if I can shift that snarling American as quickly as the oh-so-cromulent German hatchback. I'll do one pull in each car through 3rd gear at totally legal speeds with a GoPro mounted to the steering column to keep track of how quickly the tachometer moves. And then I'll go back later into my video editing software and we'll see how many frames it takes for each to change gear. The problem, and what has me worried, is that I'm told that the tach in the Golf actually doesn't move as fast as the transmission actually shifts, which makes me think I might be in trouble here. At any rate, let's go get the cars out on the road. Alright, so we're here in the Volkswagen. I've got my GoPro mounted super professional style with some painter's tape to the steering column. We've got a flickering dome light, and real fun thing here is that the sport mode keeps overriding the gear I have selected after a little bit, and it keeps downshifting. That's kind of funny. Okay, now there's no traffic. Slow down a little bit, drop down to not second, well maybe second, once I slow down. Alright, bang off a couple gear shifts, see what it does. That's pretty quick. Put this back into normal. Alright. So I was granny shifting there because there's no real reason to run this out to redline. I'm not here to abuse a car or anything, but that's a pretty snappy shift. That's gonna be, I don't think I'm not gonna be able to beat that in the Camaro. There's no way I can shift the Camaro faster, but I'm very curious how close it is conceivable to get in a regular old stick shift car to the finest computer nerdy wizardry that the Germans can come up with. I gotta say, I'm a pretty big fan of this car set up the way it is, on Coney coilovers with a tune, but no exhaust or anything obnoxious. It feels right. It's very OEM plus, which is definitely the way I tend to lean when modifying a car, or in my case, talking about how I would modify a car if I could afford to. There's also an absolutely ludicrous amount of stereo equipment in here. There's components in all the doors, and crossovers, and DSPs, and subwoofers, and an absolutely incredible amount of sound deadening. This is so much quieter than other Golfs of this generation that I've driven. No, Jettas. I've driven Jettas of this generation. But it's like a tomb in here by comparison, other than my tripod back there rattling around. I would absolutely take this thing on a long road trip. Okay, Camaro time. Subtle.
You can do no lift shift once it's over 5,500 RPM if you want to.
I'm not sure I'm gonna rev quite that high. This car is like driving a bathtub.
Is that a compliment or an insult?
It's an observation.
I mean, I guess chicks love bathtubs. So that's fine, I guess.
Gotta be scientific. Science. We're here to do. I don't think that can hear me at all. We're here to do science. We need to be scientific about this, but it's so much fun. Auto rev match?
Yep.
Yeah, that actually works pretty good. So, if
You can go to second right now. And second goes up to like 75 or 72.
I don't think that's as fast as the Golf.
Probably not.
Man.
But it's more fun.
It feels... This is a TR6060, right?
Yep.
Brilliant transmission. Holy crap. I cannot. And that's the reason, and I'm real glad that you let me do this with your car. That's the reason that I wanted to use this, is because I cannot shift my Miata this fast. The transmission just isn't... It's having none of it.
Yeah.
But man, this TR6060 is just freaking phenomenal. Alright, so I'm back at home and I've fired up Adobe Premiere and I've got all the footage loaded. I'm actually halfway through editing. This, and let's take a look at actually what the results are, because I haven't done that yet. So I'm gonna go find one of the shifts of the Golf. Okay. Alright, so I found here where one of the shifts is, and it looks like, let's see, we need to find where the needle stops moving upwards. And it looks like it's right before it starts moving. It just immediately starts moving downwards. So that is at 4 minutes, 15 seconds, and 59/60ths of a second, because this was recorded at 60 frames a second. So that was probably the 59th frame of the 60th second. So then let's keep stepping here, and we're gonna go until the needle starts going back up. Oh, it's really hard to tell. Right there is right where the needle starts creeping up at 4 minutes, 16 seconds, and the 37th frame. So that's 38 frames, 38/60ths of a second that it takes to shift So about 2/3 of a second for the dual clutch to shift. So let's now go to the Camaro. I'm going to use... All right, here's a good one to use on the Camaro. I think this was a pretty good shift. So yet again, I'm just going to go until the needle stops moving, which I think the needle looks like it rises a little bit after the shift actually starts, because I'm pretty sure right here, when the GoPro starts shaking, is when I push the clutch in. So that's 7 minutes, 51 seconds on the 58th frame. And that goes until... Yep, I think that's right where it starts moving again. 7:52 on the 49th frame. So, 50 frames, or 5/6 of a second. So that is, let's see, to put that in terms of the other shift, that would be roughly 20/30ths versus 25/30ths. So I'm within 5/10 of a second of the dual clutch transmission. I'm not mad about that. That's actually a lot better than I was expecting to do, and I'm going to take this scientifically accrued bragging rights to my grave. All right, so there we have it. Can I outshift a dual clutch? No, sure can't. And I didn't really expect to, but I did get within 5/10 of it, and I'm pretty impressed with that fact. Let's just gloss over the fact that everyone says that the tachometer on the Volkswagen lags. Let's just ignore that completely, because that would get in the way of this incredible ego-filling high that I'm feeling right now. So I'm going to go post all over the internet about this, and I'll see you all next time.